Shocking Virgo forecast. Say these words and money finds you in just 1 week. Welcome to Buddha Meditation Path. Here's something most people never realize. The moment your life starts to change rarely looks dramatic. It often begins in silence with a sentence you didn't expect or a breath you didn't know you needed. And for Virgos, that moment could be right now. There's a reason you're here, a reason this video found you. Vanga once said that those who listen deeply are the ones who recognize what others overlook. Today, we're sharing more than a message. We're sharing a quiet shift that, once embraced, could lead you into a week of unexpected clarity and financial grace. This isn't about superstition, it's about alignment. Stay with us as we explore the simple practice that unlocks money manifestation without forcing, chasing, or hoping in fear. And if it resonates with you, help this message reach others by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Every new voice helps keep this peaceful path alive. It's a quiet kind of ache, the one that creeps in late at night when the TV's off and the house is still. You stare at the ceiling, wondering how you got here, how the bank account became a source of anxiety, how the mailbox became something you dread. You've done everything you were supposed to do. You worked hard, you saved when you could, and you tried to be good to others, good to your family, good to yourself. But still, it feels like the world is moving faster than you can keep up, like the rewards you were promised never arrived. Maybe no one ever told you this, but it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel disappointed. These emotions don't make you weak. They make you human. And more importantly, they mean your spirit hasn't given up yet. You're still looking for light, for answers, for a way through. That's why you're here. That's why this message has found you. There's a moment just before things begin to change, when everything feels like it's falling apart. But what if falling apart is exactly what makes room for something better to fall into place? In Buddhist teachings, we're reminded that suffering doesn't always come from what's happening to use it, comes from our refusal to let go. Holding on to fear, to control, to the idea that we must always have a plan, that's what keeps us stuck. I want to invite you into something different. Not a solution you have to figure out, not a strategy or another self-help checklist. Just a pause, just a breath. A place to rest your spirit and unclench your heart. Take a moment. Feel your feet on the floor or your hands resting in your lap. Let your shoulders drop. Close your eyes if you need to. You don't have to pretend to be okay right now. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. In this space, you are safe. You are enough. The truth is, we've been conditioned, especially in Americato, tie our value to our productivity. To believe that if we're not climbing a ladder, we're falling behind. That if we're not busy, we're broken. But some of the most powerful transformations don't happen during the hustle. They happen in stillness. They happen when we finally stop trying to outrun our fear and turn to face it with gentle eyes. I think about people like Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, as the world knew him. He had this gift, not just for comforting children, but for reminding grown-ups that their feelings were valid too. He once said, "Anything that's human is mentionable, and anything that is mentionable can be more manageable." What if your anxiety about money isn't something to hide or fix, but something to honor, to breathe through, and to lovingly release? Imagine for a moment that your fear is not a wall but a doorway, and through that doorway lies a new chapter, one where you don't have to wake up dreading your bills, where you no longer feel ashamed to hope for more. This is where true money manifestation begins, not in wishful thinking or frantic effort, but in a quiet, powerful surrender. It's the moment you stop saying, "I can't," and start whispering, "Maybe I can." and then maybe becomes I will. You don't need to prove anything to the universe. You don't need to perform some perfect ritual or recite the right words. You just need to feel your own worth again. That deep, unwavering knowing that you are meant for more than scraping by. You were not born just to survive. You were born to create, to connect, to experience joy and, yes, to thrive. And if thriving sounds far away, just start with breathing, deep, slow breaths, the kind that fill your chest and calm your racing thoughts. As you breathe, imagine a warm, golden light entering your body. See it melt away the worry you've carried for years. Picture it wrapping around your heart, whispering, you are supported, you are loved, you are ready. You may be retired or approaching retirement and thinking, isn't it too late for me? But I've sat with people in their 70s, 87, 90s, who found that the best years of their lives began not with more money, but with more clarity. They stopped carrying shame about what they hadn't accomplished and started celebrating the wisdom they'd earned. They saw wealth in the form of time, freedom, and peace of mind. That can be your story too. Even now, especially now, the energy of your life is shifting, whether you see it or not. What you're feeling isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough waiting to be received. The fear that once froze you is starting to soften. And as it does, your heart opens to possibility. The world may still feel uncertain, but you no longer need certainty to feel safe. You just need presence. You just need breath. There's no pressure here, no rush, just this invitation to trust that something good is coming, even if you can't see it yet. And maybe, just maybe, the very fact that you're here, listening to this, means the change has already begun. You are not behind. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And from here, the path ahead begins to light up. There's something sacred about the simple act of breathing. We do it without thinking, yet it's the one thing that connects us to life in every moment. In those quiet spaces just before dawn, or during the hush of an afternoon rain, it becomes more than a reflex. It becomes a return, a way home. If you've ever sat quietly in your kitchen with a warm cup of tea, the sunlight pouring in just right through the window blinds, you know that peace isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it arrives in stillness, and in that stillness, your body begins to speak, your spirit begins to listen, your breath becomes more than oxygen, it becomes prayer. We're conditioned to think of transformation as something that requires work, motion, achievement. But what if the most profound shifts don't happen through force? What if they arrive gently, in silence, like a soft breeze moving across your skin? Close your eyes now, if you're comfortable. Let your hands rest loosely on your lap or gently over your heart. Breathe in slowly, not to fill your lungs, but to feel the air moving through you. Hold it there for just a moment, and then exhale with intention, as though you're letting go of more than breath, letting go of worry, of tension, of whatever you've been carrying in silence for far too long. With every inhale, imagine golden light entering your body, not from outside, but from somewhere deep within. It starts in your chest, warm and glowing, expanding with each breath. This isn't just your imagination, this is your energy aligning. The visualization simply reminds you of a truth your body already knows. You are made of light. There's a reason so many spiritual traditions, Eastern and Western, use breath and imagery to restore balance. They don't do it to impress or convert. They do it because it works. Science now confirms what monks and mystics have known for centuries. Deep, rhythmic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. It slows the heart rate. It lowers blood pressure. It releases the mind from panic. But beyond the science is something more beautiful, something that can't be measured by data. It's the inner clarity that comes when we remember who we are beneath the noise. I remember speaking with a woman at a retreat in Northern California, just outside the Redwoods. She was in her mid-70s, a retired nurse who had cared for others her whole life. But now, for the first time, she was learning how to care for herself. When we began our guided breathwork, she wept not from sadness, but from relief. After years of doing, she finally gave herself permission to simply be. "This light I feel," she said through tears, "I think it's always been here. I just didn't know how to see it." That light is within you too. And every time you breathe with intention, every time you visualize your energy expanding, you reconnect with it. You awaken the part of you that knows how to heal, how to attract, how to manifest. And yes, this is where money manifestation becomes real. Not because you shouted it from the rooftop or followed some rigid technique, but because you paused long enough to tune in. You calmed the static. You aligned your frequency, and money, like all forms of energy, responds to clarity. We don't often think of money as energy, especially in a culture where it's wrapped in emotion, guilt, fear, scarcity. But the truth is, money is simply a tool, a mirror, a flow. When we're grounded and aligned, we use it with purpose. When we're scattered or afraid, we chase it like it's a savior. But money was never meant to save you. It was meant to serve you. So breathe again. This time, picture that golden light wrapping around your financial fears, credit card bills, rent, medical costs, all of it. See that light softening the edges of your anxiety, turning harsh numbers into gentle opportunities. Feel the air enter your body like a promise. I am not alone, I am not broken, I am becoming. Visualization isn't fantasy, it's your subconscious receiving new instruction. And when you repeat this sacred process, breathing in light, breathing out fear, you train your mind to see with new eyes. You create space for intuition to speak. And more often than not, it speaks in whispers like, call that old friend, or check that email again, or try something different today. These aren't random thoughts. They're nudges from your aligned self, guiding you toward abundance. This is not about faking positivity or pretending life is perfect. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to question. But under those layers of fatigue is a quiet power, waiting. And it's through breath and visualization that we remember how to reach it. Every breath you take is a chance to begin again. Every moment of stillness is a seed. Don't underestimate what's growing beneath the surface simply because you can't see it yet. Some of the most beautiful blossoms take time, and just because they aren't visible doesn't mean they aren't thriving. So let your breath be your anchor. Let it guide you through fear and into faith. Not blind faith, but embodied trust, the kind that says, I may not know how, but I believe it's possible. And from that belief, from that vibration, everything begins to change. Keep breathing, keep visualizing. You're not imagining the shift, you're becoming it. There comes a moment, often quiet and unannounced, when something inside of you starts to shift. You may not notice it at first. It doesn't always look like fireworks or bold new beginnings. Sometimes it looks like putting the dishes away with a bit more ease, or standing at your mailbox and not feeling that tight pull of dread when you open a bill. Sometimes it's just waking up and realizing you didn't fall asleep with a racing heart. And in those moments, something deep within begins to whisper, you're changing. For many people, especially those in the later chapters of life, the idea of change feels heavy. We're told we should already have it all figured out by now, that growth is for the young. But what if that's never been true? What if your most important transformation is just beginning now, not in your 20s, but in your 60s or 70s? What if the second half of your life holds the peace the first half was missing? Buddhist wisdom teaches that the self is not a fixed thing, but a flowing river, always changing, always moving. And when your inner current begins to calm, the world around you reflects that change. The stress that once followed you like a shadow begins to lift. You no longer feel the need to push or chase or control everything. Instead, you begin to receive. Vanga, the blind mystic whose predictions touched millions, once said that true vision comes not from the eyes, but from clarity of spirit. Her insight wasn't just about the future, it was about your own readiness to accept what's been waiting for you all along. She believed, and so do I, that once the fog of fear begins to lift, the path to abundance becomes unmistakably clear. This is not about magic thinking. This is about returning to the place within yourself where you no longer doubt your value. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. And most importantly, you stop blocking the blessings that have been trying to reach you. Too often, we carry invisible stories that shape how we view money. Maybe you were told that wealth is for other people, or that success only comes from suffering. Maybe you've internalized the belief that because you've struggled before, struggle is all you can expect. But those stories are not your identity. They are just echoes, and echoes fade. Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to choose a new story. One rooted not in scarcity, but in self-respect. One that says, I am not behind, I am not too late, I am not broken. With every breath, you reclaim the parts of yourself that have been silenced by shame, by exhaustion, by years of trying to make it work for everyone else. And now, for perhaps the first time in a long while, you're invited to make it work for you. This is the heart of money manifestation. Not a loud proclamation, not a complicated ritual, but a quiet alignment. A shift in how you see yourself and your place in the world. When your energy changes, what you attract changes. You move from fear to faith, from lack to love, from surviving to truly living. One of the most moving conversations I ever had was with a man named Charles, a former Vietnam veteran, who sat with me during a meditation circle in Arizona. He was in his 70s and had spent most of his life carrying invisible wounds. I never thought peace was for me, he said. But this breathing, this stillness, it feels like coming home. He didn't need to fix anything. He just needed to remember who he really was before the world tried to convince him otherwise. And perhaps that's all you need too. To return not to the version of yourself that was endlessly striving, but to the version that quietly believes again. The one that listens to a soft breeze on the porch and trusts that life is unfolding just as it should. The one who walks slowly through the grocery store, not rushing, not bracing, but present, grateful, and open. Transformation doesn't need to look grand to be real. It just needs to be honest. It begins the moment you stop resisting and start receiving. When you replace the sentence, I don't know how I'll make it, with, I'm ready for something better. That small shift, that sacred pivot is how abundance begins. So, as you go about your day watering your plants, feeding your dog, folding the laundry, know this: you are not stuck. You are not behind. You are rising, quietly, steadily, stronger than you've ever been. And your energy, your gentle, grounded energy is calling forth the life you've always deserved. You may not see all the signs right away, but the shift has already begun. And with every breath, with every kind thought toward yourself, with every small act of faith, you are moving forward. You are transforming. And what's waiting ahead is not just possible, it's already finding its way to you. There's something profoundly beautiful that happens when you finally look in the mirror and say, I trust myself again. Maybe the lines on your face weren't always there. Maybe the years haven't been easy. But when you speak those words not out of pride, but out of quiet certainty, something in the air changes. It's as if the universe has been waiting for you to say it all along. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You never did. The world may have told you otherwise. Maybe a boss who never saw your worth, a partner who made you feel small, or even your own inner voice, hardened by years of disappointment. But beneath those voices is a deeper truth that never left you, one that's still here, waiting. That truth is this: you are powerful. Not because of the money in your bank account, or the titles you held, or the things you've accumulated, but because of your resilience, your capacity to heal, to evolve, to begin again. And when you remember that, when you truly stand in that place of grounded confidence, the world meets you with open hands. It starts small. Maybe you begin to speak with more kindness toward yourself. Maybe you stop apologizing for your dreams. Maybe you let yourself hope again, really hope, not the fragile kind that breaks with the first gust of wind, but the kind rooted in truth, the kind that says, I don't know exactly how, but I believe it's possible. And then something beautiful happens. You begin to notice that the things you once chased are now flowing toward you, not because you forced them, but because you finally believed you deserved them. That's the moment where money manifestation becomes more than an idea. It becomes a way of being. It's not about attracting a dollar amount. It's about embodying a truth so deep that wealth can't help but respond to it. You walk differently when you believe you're worthy. You speak with more calm. You stop explaining your worth to people who never truly listened. You begin to recognize abundance, not just in your income, but in your peace of mind, your health, your time. You realize that freedom isn't something you retire into, it's something you choose, breath by breath. I once met a woman named Ruth at a community center in Ohio. She was 82 and had just started learning how to paint. Everyone told me it was too late, she said with a small smile. But I think I'm just getting started. Her hands trembled a bit, but her spirit didn't. She painted with colors that felt like laughter, and when she talked about her art, her eyes lit up. She wasn't painting to sell or to impress. She was painting because something inside her had finally said, yes. That same yes lives in you. You don't need a grand sign to know you're ready. The fact that you're still here, still seeking, still breathing deeply into these words, that's your sign. You're not who you were yesterday. You've grown, softened, strengthened, and now you're standing at the threshold of something new. Maybe you've been through seasons of loss, of change, of letting go. But look how far you've come. Look how much you've endured and still found a way to love, to hope, to heal. That's not weakness. That's wisdom, and wisdom real. Lived in wisdom is magnetic. It draws people to you, opportunities, peace, prosperity. Not because you've mastered every detail, but because you've aligned with what truly matters. Take a breath right now, not because you need to relax, but because your breath is sacred. Let it remind you that life isn't something happening to you, it's something flowing through you. And you are not separate from the energy that creates all things. You are part of it. You are supported by it. You are rising with it. There is nothing missing in you. There is nothing broken. There is only awakening. And in this awakening, you begin to walk into a life that reflects who you truly are. You begin to say no to what drains you, and yes to what restores you. You make choices not from fear, but from trust. And trust becomes your foundation, your compass, your light. As you step into this light, may you remember the words of Vanga, who, even in her blindness, saw more clearly than most. She once said that the ones who find peace are not the ones who never struggled, but the ones who chose to rise anyway. She believed that each of us carries a thread of destiny, and when we follow it with faith, it leads us exactly where we need to go. So follow your thread, even now, especially now. You've come too far to stop here, and what's ahead is not just hopeful, it's magnificent. Let it unfold. Let it rise. Let it be yours. You didn't arrive here by accident. Maybe you've heard words like this before, but this time something felt different. And that difference, it wasn't in the message, it was in you. By choosing to listen with openness, by pausing to breathe and reflect, you've already shifted something powerful inside you. Not everything needs to make sense right away. What matters is that your energy is no longer frozen in fear, it's flowing again. And when that happens, the universe begins to respond in quiet, astonishing ways. This is what money manifestation really looks like. Not a sudden miracle, but a steady unfolding. Not something outside of you, but something already within you, gently waking up. As you return to your day, carry this stillness with you. Let it shape how you speak, how you spend, how you rest. And if this moment has sparked something in you, we'd be honored if you helped us share it. Like, share, or subscribe, not out of habit, but as a ripple of support for this growing community of peaceful seekers. Every soul who joins strengthens this path and helps keep the light on for someone else who needs it too. Until we meet again, may your next 7 days surprise you in all the right ways.